Hello, I am Jordan Mustang 87 and welcome to what is now the start of a new Let's Play. And the game I have decided I am going to do here and now is officially going to be this. Our first of 4 installments in the Midnight Club series, and officially they started off with this. Midnight Club Street Racing. Developed by Angel Studios and released by Rockstar Games, essentially the other gaming series that many people know and love Rockstar Games for, aside from the hugely synonymous and equally controversial Grand Theft Auto, which I guess you could say on the whole, GTA is about as controversial as Jeremy Clarkson and Marilyn Manson combined. Both figures, of course, are synonymous with controversy, as you might have guessed. But you know. So, this game itself is available for both the PlayStation 2 and also the Game Boy Advance. They'd originally planned to also release this game for the Nintendo 64, but ultimately they never did at the end of the day, sadly. The game itself first came out in October of 2000. It's one of the very first games, in fact, to be released for the PlayStation 2, because apparent as it might be, this game came out in the same year that the PlayStation 2 was born. And by that time, of course, the PlayStation 2 had only been available in America for a few months. And then we here in Europe would also get this game in 2000 by early to mid-December, I think it was, when we got this game. And a few weeks prior to that, we'd also got the PlayStation 2 in Europe as well. So basically, we got this game weeks before Christmas, essentially. And the Japanese would also get this game a couple of months later in March of 2001. And I'm going to assume there are 2 reasons why they released this game in Japan, because, well, they essentially have a lot of cars in this game that are like Japanese imports, and they also have a certain number of characters in this game who probably do have Asian origins, if you will. You know, basically characters with an Asian heritage. Anyways, let's now go through the basics of this game itself. And just to finish off, they released this game for the Game Boy Advance in November of 2001, and we here in Europe would also get the GBA version of Midnight Club by February of 2002. Even though I can confidently say that, well, the PlayStation 2 version of this game is probably better than the GBA version. But yeah, let's now go through the basics. So this is our main menu. We've got arcade, career, and also extras, which is basically options, if you will. So we've got arcade mode to start with, and the 2 cities we are going to in this game are New York and London. New York, as you can probably tell, is represented by the Twin Towers of the original World Trade Center, and well, they don't exist anymore for obvious reasons. But I can say they have rebuilt the World Trade Center. Even though it may not be the World Trade Center, we can at least say it's a World Trade Center. And nowadays it's basically the Freedom Tower that overlooks Manhattan, not the original Twin Tower complex you see before you. Anyways, moving on. And London, of course, as you can probably tell, is represented by the Tower Bridge. I can immediately recognise this as being the Tower Bridge solely because, well, I've been to London numerous times in my lifespan, and we'll probably head over there again a couple of times in the next 10 years or so. Anyways, so those are the cities we're going to, and as for the career mode, well, we've got 3 options here. We can either start a new game, load a saved game, or delete any games we might have. I did do some testing on this game, and I do know precisely where all of our races are located. So we have the game options here. I of course am going to go through each of these, so going to turn down the music volume a bit, because, well, there might be copyrighted audio somewhere in there. Sound effects, well, turn that down a little bit. Voice volume, yeah, I'm okay with that. And 3D sound, don't really know if I should or shouldn't be concerned about that. And as for the controller settings, well, I'm going to go for configuration B, because this is the setup I'm mostly used to. Also because when I'm using D-pad setup, it's also when I'm using D-pad setups that I'm normally used to using X to accelerate and square to brake. And it's quite a detailed setup here from what I can tell. But anyway, yeah, so going for configuration B. Don't need to change anything on the display, basically got everything I need. Also don't need to change the speedometer, because I prefer miles. And we've also got arcade data as well. Of course, we do not have anything available to us in the arcade data right now, because, as you can tell there, we have got no saved data. So there is that. And we've also got high scores. Of course, as you can tell, I have set no records yet. And obviously, each of these are times which, and well, each of these are technically times which I have not set yet. So, you know. And well, each of these, as you can probably tell, are races that we do throughout the career mode. So up to the New York Championship, all of these are career races, and then the rest of these I think are arcade races, if I'm not mistaken. So we've got all of these, and there's only 5 arcade races, I think. And as for the career mode in London, well, we've got all of these up to the London Championship, and then there's also the World Championship, which should be our last race in the career mode, and then after that we've just got 4 races to do in the arcade mode, because, well, these are basically arcade races once we are done with the World Championship. So yeah, there is that. And one last thing I should look at here is the biographies of each of the characters we have in this game, so yeah, let's do that.
Yo, I'm Emilio Sanchez from Uptown, baby. Hold on to your seat.
So, it is fair to say we have got biographies for each of these characters, as of which in the main career mode there are basically 6 characters we go up against. First of those being Emilio Sanchez, because he basically introduces us to the Midnight Club. We've also got Larry Muller.
I'm Larry Muller. They don't mess with me in Queens.
Who I can definitely say has a pretty kick-ass pickup, if you ask me. And of course, if you are one of my American viewers, you'll probably know about how much you really love a truck. So yeah, Larry Muller is basically a truck driver.
I'm Keiko Hatano, the hottie behind the wheel. I like to drive very fast.
And we've also got Keiko Hatana as being our third character which we are racing against in the main career mode part of New York. And then once we have beaten all three of these characters, we then go up against the New York champion.
My name's Kareem, and I am so fresh that the girls can't settle for nothing less.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, the New York champion, by the way, is Kareem, and he will basically be the guy that we're going up against for the New York Championship, and we'll basically be racing him again later on in the game. So yeah, there is that.
Yo, word up. HJ on the mic.
And the second of our two London characters is officially Lucas Howell Jones, who I think is basically driving Rockstar's best impression of a Mini Cooper without actually using a Mini Cooper, essentially.
You'll never catch up with me, Emily Morton, fastest girl in town.
And we've also got Emily Morton, who, from what I can tell, she does have a history of calling the player a wanker for some reason. I honestly couldn't tell you why she always does that when you're ahead of her. I guess it must just be her style, I honestly don't know, but I do have a reasonable response to if she calls me a wanker, because, you know, she does do that a lot.
Darren Farrick, fastest man in London.
And of course, Darren Thurrock is technically the London champion, who we will be going up against. And then after this, I think it's the mystery driver that we're going up against for the World Championship. Not much is known about this secretive racer, except that no one can keep up. The car is a custom prototype that seems untouchable, and so far, this driver has been perfect. Unless you're near the top of the racing food chain, you won't even get a chance to get whipped. And that's it.
Yo, I'm Emilio Sanchez from Uptown, baby. Hold on to your seat.
That's basically all I really needed to show off here. And we've also got the credits as well, but I'm not going to show those off yet, so yeah. Anyways, I think to end off this introduction, I'm basically going to show you how you can create a new career profile. So we head into new, basically says fresh start, and it will also ask you if you want to create a saved profile, and then you can basically just go through each of the characters in the alphabet you have available to you, and basically what you can do is basically use whatever characters you want to use. Of course, I'm not going to create this yet. By the way, we can also save the profile afterwards, so it proves that we've got it. But yeah, that's basically how you create your career profile, so yeah. I think that's pretty much going to do it now for this introduction to Midnight Club for the PlayStation 2. And next time, we will be getting on with the game itself. And so, I will see you all for the start of Midnight Club Street Racing. Let's go!